So we've got some major new developments. You know, there was just a press conference on Thursday afternoon, which Sheriff Chris Nanos, who I call Barney Fife, has told us is the last one he's ever giving. I'll believe it when I see it. But before we get to the breaking news out of that presser, I wanted to take advantage of having time with you to look at the dramatic video that Savannah released on Instagram on Wednesday night. And she seems to be talking both to America and to the kidnappers, the abductors, whoever they may be. We have theories about this. None other than Ashley Banfield has some real theory about this. Here in this video, Phil, we see Savannah sitting between her sister Annie, who we have legitimate reason to believe is a suspect in the disappearance of their mother, and her brother Cameron. And I found this video remarkable as much for what isn't said as what is said. So we're going to take it apart in 4 chunks. Here's the first cut. This is Savannah begging for her mother to be brought home. Here we go.
Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny and spunky and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Phil, what strikes you about that clip of the Savannah video?
Well, there's a lot there to unpack, Maureen. You know, look, it's obvious that, like you mentioned, she's speaking as much to the perpetrators of this crime as anybody else. She may believe that she's speaking to her mother, although I have doubts about that personally at this point, given the number of days that it's been. This was something that was done, obviously, in coordination with law enforcement. They probably helped script it. There were probably psychologist types that help with the specific wording. They're trying to, I guess, elicit some type of emotional response from the captor or captors or whoever these bad people are. They're just trying to get their attention, and also trying to keep the story alive in the media, although that's probably going to happen anyway. But keeping the case alive, keeping people talking about it is oftentimes one of the best things that you can do to solve a case. And in the days immediately following a disappearance, that is when, you know, time is literally of the essence, particularly if you have someone like this grandmother who needs medicine and is not very mobile. So everything that they can do in the immediate days like this is key. So ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. Time will tell whether or not this video bears any fruit, but it's certainly not the wrong thing to do. I'll say that.
We do know that this was done in concert with the FBI. It was shot in the sister's house. Yeah. The FBI brought in ring lights. They were seen bringing in a camera. I'm sure there were hostage negotiators of the highest caliber there, helping, as you said, with the language. Talk to us about, A, the significance of shooting it in the sister's house.
Yeah. And
B, if that is possibly a tactic, if in fact law enforcement, as per Ashley Banfield's reporting, is looking at the sister whose affect, I'm just going to say it, to me seems way off. If they're actively looking at the sister and her husband as prime suspects in Nancy's disappearance.
Yeah, I'm in no real position to gauge, the affect of the sister. I'm not a professional, but as a layperson looking at it, it did look a bit forced in my personal opinion. But look, I think the FBI being there, the FBI setting it up, other law enforcement I'm sure was there. You know what that does? That gets law enforcement inside that house without a warrant.
Oh, Phil, now
it,
you're talking.
It gets them there on a permissive basis. It's consensual. And if you invite the law enforcement into your home and they happen to see something or they happen to observe something in plain view, or they, I don't know, take some swabs off the carpet or whatever, that's the kind of thing where they can surreptitiously start surveilling and looking around to see when they do come back with a warrant, if they do come back with a warrant, maybe where they're going to look more closely. So I see it as much a tactic to try to speak to any potential captors as it is for law enforcement to get inside that home without raising anybody's alarms by saying, here we are with a search warrant. But hey, I'm just a cynic. What do I know?
Hey, you're talking to a fellow one, and I like it because also what it is, it's so brilliant if that's the tactic, because Savannah's natural habitat is in front of a camera. She probably takes some kind of comfort in being able to use her talent to communicate. It also brings down the defenses of both the brother and the sister, and they're distracted because they're quote unquote helping now, and law enforcement can roam around that house and probably nobody's really paying that much attention where they're going and what they're doing.
Yeah, and law enforcement is watching everybody very closely. And we know now that they've been to the sister's home, that we know that they've taken the Cellbrite kit over there, which is
Talk
the
a
platform.
bit about what that is, yeah.
Okay, so Cellbrite is the platform that allows law enforcement and others, it's typically used by law enforcement, although it can exist in private hands, to extract data that may exist on your cell phone, on your iPad or other devices. Yeah, that's it on the screen there. And so it can be a tool for them to go in, and if you think something is deleted from your phone, guess what? It's not. That Cellbrite kit right there will find it, and it can see what you've been doing online, and it can give a lot of information. And they're not there with that Cellbrite kit at the sister's home by accident, are they? No, they are there on purpose. Look, let's back up a minute. When we have any missing persons investigation, or any crime for that matter, the natural place for law enforcement to begin is at the center. And in this case, it's like you take the victim and then you work outward in small rings to see, who does this person associate with most closely? And it's usually you start with the family until you start ruling them out. So on the one hand, it can be perfectly innocent. There's an innocent explanation for the law enforcement to be there with that. But if you notice, this was there like yesterday and today. Okay, she's been missing now for a few days. And so now it looks like, to me, there's something that has caused law enforcement to renew their interest in the sister and her husband. And if you also add in the fact that the crime scene, which was unfortunately released by law enforcement, in my opinion, way too early. We talked about this on my show. What an unforced
error. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we talked about this on MK True Crime just yesterday. I felt that it was too early. And then, 24 hours later, there's new crime scene up. So I wonder if maybe the FBI or somebody didn't say, hey, Sheriff, look, what are you doing? You need to protect the integrity of this crime scene, because when you have journalists and members of the public in and out of there, not only do they track things in, they track their own DNA, they track dirt, they track in all kinds of things, but they also can destroy evidence that's there. They can move things around, they can put fingerprints in places, they can destroy trace evidence. And so it really was an unforced error. It was one of these things where I saw them releasing that scene, and then I saw Brian Enton, I think it was, going out there looking at the blood on the doorstep, and I'm thinking, my God, what are they thinking? Who is in charge of this, and why are they letting the scene be reopened so soon?
Yeah, well, we all know that Sheriff Chris Nanos is in charge because he loves telling us every 5 minutes, and that was, I'm sure, his call, and I completely agree with you. How could you release a crime scene that early on into the investigation when you claim you have no idea what happened? Okay, let's take a look at the second part of this clip. Savannah is talking now about the ransom note, and I'm really interested to know your theories about this ransom note, who the authors may be, the legitimacy of it, or whether someone is attempting to cover their tracks with this ransom note. Here we go.
We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
Now, what I find so telling is that in the please reach out to us, which I know is deliberate, and law enforcement, the FBI went over this language with a fine-tooth comb, but that tells us that the Guthrie family and law enforcement has had no real communication with the author or authors of this note.
You know why? Because it's bullshit. Okay?
Thank you.
It's just bullshit. Look, a real ransom note is going to come contemporaneously with the kidnapping. It's going to be specific, and it's going to have terms. It's going to have the ransom. It's going to have proof of life. All the things that are missing from what we know about this ransom. And by the way, if I'm going to kidnap somebody, I'm not going to send the ransom note demand to TMZ.
Oh,
right?
my God. I know, you're so right. You're so right.
And asking for Bitcoin and all this stuff. Now, what this does smell like to me, it smells like some opportunistic criminal, maybe sitting overseas somewhere, maybe in Russia or wherever else, and is taking advantage of this opportunity to try to con somebody out of some money, or in this case, maybe some Bitcoin. I speculated on MK True Crime that maybe it's so close to Mexico, maybe it's a cartel thing, but I've moved on from that. I don't think it's that.
Cartels need the money.
No, and they don't do it this way. But when they started asking, the only thing that made me think that was the Bitcoin aspect. But I don't think it's that. It smells like something that is either an opportunistic criminal overseas or somewhere just trying to make a quick buck off this tragedy, or it could be the real suspect in the case, or the real criminal, as you mentioned, trying to throw law enforcement off, trying to point them in another direction. And then when you add to that, now we then have the Cellbrite kit going back into the sister's house now. It's like, are they looking for deleted evidence of some kind of email that may have been sent with a ransom note? Who knows? But these press conferences that say all kinds of things, yet say nothing at the same time, all that does is causes us to have things to speculate about, and it starts the conspiracy theories going and all that. But at this point, since law enforcement has not really given us much information that we can work with, we're left to fill in the blanks. And when I start looking at this objectively, and I see that Cellbrite going in there, and it's right after the email, I'm starting to deduce that they could very well be investigating the sister and her husband for perhaps being the source of that ransom email.
Agreed. And what also struck me is that Thursday's presser, this note is a letter, email, whatever, is the work of amateurs. Number one, if this email originated from overseas, the FBI would have knocked it down right away. They would have sourced that IP address, I would think, unless there's somebody who's on the super dark web, which means a level of sophistication, that this case does not bear the hallmarks of. And secondly, the demand was that all the money be deposited by 5 p.m. Thursday. And one reporter at the presser said, was that Eastern time? And the sheriff was like, we don't know. Which means the dummy who wrote the ransom note didn't even know whether to say Central Time, Mountain Time, Pacific Time, or Eastern Time.
I guess I haven't thought about that with the IP. There's so many ways to mask an IP address. I assume that everybody knows that you could do that. But when you factor in the things that you just mentioned, which is the general lack of sophistication, once you look just past the surface of this bullshit note, the whole thing just starts to seem like it just, and they said today at the press conference that there was at least one bogus ransom note that there's going to be some kind of prosecution over. So look, this may not be the end of, we may see other fake ransom notes. Who knows? They may be chasing these things down for the next several days. But if the goal was to throw law enforcement off and give them something else to do besides search someone's house, then perhaps they've succeeded. Although we did see video now. I think that we used to, I remember when we had news helicopters that were the only way to stalk police when they were out in the field doing these investigations. Now we have high quality drones, right? And so the drones, and they give much clearer pictures, and so they can zoom right in. And they showed these investigators in the bedrooms at the sister's house and in the garage, taking pictures, putting things in bags. So, if you add that, there it is. Yeah, so if you add that to the reporting by Ashley Banfield, you start to do the math and you say, okay, well, Ashley's reporting does have the ring of truth to it, doesn't it? And so the sheriff, despite his protestations to the contrary, I seem to think that they are focusing their efforts on the sister and the sister's spouse.
In the world of e-commerce, order fulfillment can make or break your business. That's why ShipStation's all-in-one platform is helping over 1 million businesses maximize their efficiency. The platform bridges order management, inventory tracking, returns, warehouse integration, and powerful analytics. It compares rates across USPS, UPS, and FedEx to unlock discounts of up to 90% off. It allows you to keep pre-negotiated carrier rates as well. ShipStation automations like bulk label printing and sending tracking updates save users an average of 15 hours per week and cuts customer service inquiries by 12%. Built-in returns insights reveal exactly what products are coming back and why, while detailed analytics spotlight where you're saving money and where to optimize further. Connect to over 200 sales channels in one place. No more juggling 5 to 7 disconnected tools. Set it up once and let automations handle the rest. Try ShipStation free for 60 days with full access to all features, no credit card needed. Go to ShipStation.com and use code Maureen for 60 days for free. 60 free days gives you plenty of time to see exactly how much time and money you're saving on every shipment. That's ShipStation.com, code Maureen. ShipStation.com, code Maureen.